Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, no bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and join with me in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. In doing so, I ask that you place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Parents, relatives, and friends, teachers, and classmates, welcome to the class of 1987 commencement exercises. For us graduating seniors, this night marks the end of 13 years of education, but it also denotes the beginning of a new era in our lives, one of independence and responsibility. This night is filled with emotion. We are proud of our accomplishments, anxious of the changes that may happen in our lives, and saddened at the thought of being separated from our friends. Some of us may feel relieved to be out of school, while others feel the burden of what lies ahead. Over the past 3 years, we have received two great gifts, our education and many memories. For these, we are thankful. To express our thanks, we have designed a school flag. On it is the school crest signifying friendship, academics, the fine arts, and athletics. This flag combines the school spirit of Osseo Senior High with the spirit of the class of 1987. To be used at graduations and other formal ceremonies, this flag will symbolize how Osseo Senior High students feel about their school. We present this flag to the administrators, the educators, the present students of Osseo Senior High, and to those who will attend the school in the future. Our class motto states, "To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe." An accomplishment may bring its achiever fame and fortune, but it doesn't have to be called great. Any accomplishment is great if it brings happiness to the world or simply a smile to a single person. It is this kind of success that brings self-fulfillment and happiness to the achiever. After tonight, some of us will head towards self-fulfillment by continuing our education, while others will jump immediately into a new world. Whatever option one takes after high school, the person will be taking the necessary action towards accomplishing his or her goals in life. But in our motto it says, we must not only act, but also dream. We must dream of what we wish to become. Right now, many of our minds may be cluttered with a tangle of hopes and dreams, and we may not be sure what career or vocation we intend to pursue. But as long as we possess dreams, we have something to strive for. Without dreams, our lives would become stagnant. We would remain where we are, ungrowing and unchanging. It is our dreams that instill the hope and ambition to make life happier. When we finally settle on a dream we wish to pursue, it is time to create a plan. A plan sets a course of action. It removes anxiety by providing a way to achieve a goal. Plans also measure the progress we have made towards achieving a certain ambition. As each step is completed, we become more confident that we will succeed, and confidence is necessary. Indeed, our motto says that we must also believe in ourselves. This evening is proof that our motto is true. To achieve the goal of graduation, we have acted by attending school, dreamt that there was an end to the countless hours of homework, planned by completing our required classes, and believed that we would eventually be here tonight. But graduation is only the first of many great things that the class of 1987 will accomplish in the future. Good luck. Thank you.
President Savard, members of the class of '87, on behalf of the students yet to come at Osseo Senior High and the staff, I thank you very much. This flag will hang proudly on your behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, one quick introduction. We have a special platform guest this evening. I would ask you at this time to please welcome the new Director of Secondary Education, Dr. James Body. At this time, I would like the following students to please come forward as I call your name and line up before the front of the stage. Scott Anderson, Carrie Anderton, Barbara Brooks, Deborah Carlson, Thomas Cleveland, Tammy Gallus, Antonia Grant, Andrew Hall, Cheryl Hennis, Noel Jouer, Sherry Kipmeyer, John Knudsen, Nancy Kokendurfer, Lisa Lazzaroni, Brian Lindgren, Lori Munter, Thomas Savard, Candace Schwan, Linda Sutter, Glenn Turpa, Scott Wold, Shannon Wright. The students lined up before you in front of the stage are the 22 young adults who have earned the distinction of being called Special Honor Students. To achieve this honor, they had to maintain a grade point average of 3.8 or better. Two of these students, Lori Munter and Linda Sutter, will graduate tonight with a grade point average of 4.0. Dr. Body, Mr. Melby, Dr. Body and Mr. Melby are presenting them with the Osseo Senior High High Honor Award Medallion, presented for the first time to the honor students of the class of '87. Please join me in applauding these students for their academic achievement. In September of this school year, this senior class lost their friend and classmate, Scott Kuchera. Since that time, Friends of Scott have been gathering funds for a scholarship to be awarded annually to 2 students who graduate. Normally, scholarships are presented at our awards night program in late May. However, we felt that it would be appropriate that the first scholarships would be presented on this night, which would have been Scott's commencement. To make the presentation, I present to you Mr. Richard Myers.
Thank you. Mr. Melby and Mr. Koenig, Mr. Melby, special guests, students, and relatives and friends of the graduating class. While this is a very happy occasion for me to be able to give 2 $500 scholarships in Scott's name, it's also very emotional for myself, as I'm sure many of you. We felt that in putting this scholarship together, it was extremely important that we be able to offer 2 scholarships in Scott's name every school year from now on. But it was more important that we were able to put this thing together to offer 2 scholarships to 2 members of his graduating class. We knew how special it would be to a number of people. Because of a lot of hard work from a number of you folks out there, we were able to do this. The criteria we used, and before I get into, or instead of getting into all the criteria, there were 3 general criteria that we used. First of all, the person needed to be an athlete, not necessarily the best athlete. Person needed to be a hard worker and a coachable person, and also a great student. And that's what we looked for when determining these people. Instead of going through the letter or the criteria of the fund, I'd like to just, maybe if I could, read the letter that we sent to the 2 winners. Maybe you'll get a flavor of what we were looking for. I am pleased to announce that you have been selected to receive the first ever scholarship given by the Scott Kuchera Memorial Foundation. The amount of your scholarship is $500. It will be sent to the school that you will be attending in the fall of 1987 to defer costs of books and tuition. As you well know, Scott was a classmate of yours, so this award hopefully will be very special to you. One of the criteria the board used in selecting a winner was that the person had to be like Scott in many ways. We felt that you were a match. You should feel very good about this because Scott was a very special young man. You should also feel very proud of all your accomplishments during your high school years. The entire board would like to congratulate you and wish you the very best in your future endeavors. As a person that spent a lot of time with Scott, a coach of Scott, I can tell you that there were very few like him. Nobody tried harder, nobody worked harder to make himself a success in whatever he did. If I could now, before I introduce to you the 1987 recipients, I'd like to just read a quote to you given by a coach of each one of these people. First of all, this person said about the young lady I'm about to introduce to you, they had never had and probably never will coach a more coachable athlete. And about this young man, the coach said, he has worked as hard as anyone we've ever had in this program. Those work habits and the pleasant personality have made him a team leader. With that, I'd like to introduce, and if you would please come up, I'd like to present to you Deetra Ray Nelson and John Pellant, your scholarships.
Well, I really think this is just a tremendous honor to be the first one to receive this award, and I hope that the people in the coming years will understand how much this is and how much it means to people, because I know we all just, I mean, this is a happy moment, but at the same time, I mean, we lost someone so special, and this will just be close to my heart forever.
I'd like to thank everybody that made this scholarship possible. And I just hope the same as Deetra that the people receiving this award next can bring out whatever Scott stood for. And I hope that both of us, I know we'll try our best to keep up Scott's name. Thank you.
Let's hear it for these two fine student athletes. Mr. Koenig.
I'd like everyone here tonight who's ever set a goal for themselves or had a dream to really listen to what I have to say. Three years of English, social, math, and science, teenage mating rituals, Saturday night dances, and holiday carnations, Miss Lundberg, study hall nap sessions, the back 40 and senior hall, pop quizzes, procrastinating, cramming, eventually passing have brought us to this point, graduation. Graduation allows each of us to look back and judge if we succeeded in high school beyond simply earning a diploma. Graduation also allows us to look forward and plan for success in our goals beyond simply earning a paycheck. These goals may include starting a career, furthering an education, excelling in athletics, or strengthening a relationship. However, to succeed in these goals, we must develop three qualities in ourselves: a love for that goal, a commitment to work for that goal, and a mental toughness. When I speak of love, I'm not speaking of a photograph love, but one that lies deep in our soul. All too often, we do not take the time to make the distinction between these two types of love. Not taking the time to do so will lead us astray from our true, worthwhile goals. If a true love exists and we lose sight of our dream, it's gonna hurt. And that feeling makes us see what our real goal is and brings us nearer to it. However, a love for our goal alone will not allow us to succeed. We must have a commitment to work. Commitment to work is beneficial in two ways. It gives us the means to achieve our present goal, and it also builds a base of experience to allow us to reach for higher goals. When we were sophomores, a good friend of mine had a dream to play on the Osseo hockey team. He committed himself to work for this goal by playing on a summer hockey team, lifting weights, taking the time and the money to join a hockey school. It was through his commitment that he prepared himself physically for the hockey tryouts. And eventually, he did make the varsity team. And it was also through his commitment that my friend provided himself with a base of experience to let him reach for higher goals, which in this case may be a college hockey team. The commitment to work is not merely limited to athletics, but can be applied to any dream. And through it, we'll become a step closer to reaching it. Even with love and commitment, we still must have one more thing to reach success in the long run. It's mental toughness. Mental toughness gives us the will to carry on when our hearts are broken and our bodies are tired. We acquire it in the high times as well as the low times. During brief moments of success, when things are going great, we know we're getting close to that dream and we gain self-confidence. And in the darker times, when love is carrying us, we realize it just means too much. We just can't stop. It means too much. I didn't mention it earlier, but my sophomore year and my junior year, that friend didn't make that team. He got cut. Remember that this sport means more to him than anything, and he's worked hard to make it. Well, he came to me and said with a tear in his eye, "I just can't go on. I just gotta quit. I'm gonna hang up my skates." But there was something inside his head that said, "Wait, you gotta pick yourself up and go for that dream." It was then he did so. He began to work for the next year, and like I said, he did make it. Only because he was mentally tough, along with the love and the commitment to work, that he did succeed in fulfilling his dream. No matter what your dream is, whether it is in a career, in education, athletics, or a relationship, if you're willing to put forth an honest effort by deeply loving, committing yourself to it, and hanging in there, you will find success along your future path. Thank you.
moment that we have all dreamed of, hoped for, prayed for, and dreaded has at last arrived. The class of 1987 brought together one final time for graduation. We came to Osseo Senior High 3 years ago as sophomores. Thankfully, we outgrew that painful stage of development and proceeded through our junior year and into our senior year. And tonight, we have completed the journey through high school itself. I refer to it as a journey simply because that is the way I see the last 3 years, one long adventure. Because I don't know about you, but I could write a book on the experiences I've had the last 3 years. I have a very clear picture of what type of book it would be. Basically, I see it as an adventure story with a large measure of comedy. It would be a romance, a tearjerker, a fairy tale, a riddle and joke book. I mean, stop and think about it. Stop and think about all the things that we've been through together. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've had our happy moments and our sad moments. We've had our silly crushes and our serious relationships. We've made friends. We've lost friends. The activities that we've been involved in have succeeded as well as failed. We've grown, and we've changed, and we've done all of this together. These are the things that I would include in my book if I was to write a story of my last 3 high school years. But this book has come to a close, and this evening marks the final chapter. They call this ceremony commencement, but contrary to what many people believe, commencement means to begin. It does not mean to end. It's true, one book of our lives has drawn to a close, but another is yet to be written. This book that begins tonight should be entitled Book 2, After High School. Book 1 contained our dreams and aspirations. Book 2 records the journey ahead of us and our quest to make these dreams a reality. Just as in Book 1, Book 2 will have its disappointments as well as its joys. But the failures that we will encounter out in the real world are only in preparation for our final success. The learning was not over last Friday with the last final, and it's not over tonight. The learning has just begun. The only obstacles in our path as we set out on this next journey are the limitations that we set for ourselves. As we receive our diplomas this evening, we are reminded how much we've grown up over the last 3 years. We've been well prepared by our teachers, families, and friends. And tonight, we take responsibility for our own lives. Accept this power that you have over your life. Seek those dreams that we all have. And no matter how impossible it may seem at the time, keep climbing through the struggle of it all. Hold your head up high and go forth proudly as a 1987 Osseo Senior High graduate.
by the American Legion. It is a medal awarded for honor, courage, leadership, scholarship, and patriotism. Along with the award goes a $1,000 scholarship. Mrs. Bev Obie, President of the Osseo American Legion Auxiliary, will assist me with the presentations. As I read the names, will the graduates and their parents please join us on the stage? Lori L. Munter, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Larry A. Munter. Would you come forward, please? Also, Mathuraman Puryakarapan, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ram Puryakarapan. Would you come forward, please? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special request at this time to make of our guests of the audience prior to presenting the class of 1987. During the presentation of diplomas and the reading of the names, we ask that you, the parents, friends, and guests, please refrain from verbal expressions of emotion, better known as yelling, screaming, hooting, whistling, or applauding, until the entire class has been presented and recognized. We ask you to do this because each one of these young adults has earned the right to walk across the stage and be recognized for their achievement without distractions from the audience and guests. This class, the class of 1987, is a very special and talented group of young adults. Now, I know that every principal of every school at every graduation says the same thing about their seniors, but to us they are special. They have achieved a great deal. I can say this tonight because as of 2 o'clock this afternoon, the class of 1987 was recognized for having achieved $278,666 in academic scholarships. We are very proud of this class, and we hope that you, parents, friends, and relatives, feel the same that we do at school. To the class of '87, we cannot let the moment go by without saying something to you. I wish you every success and extend to you all the best wishes of the staff of Osseo Senior High. You have done well. We will miss you. You have a special part in our hearts. However, after you've calmed down from all the graduation excitement, I wish to ask a favor of you. Make a list of all the people that have walked by your side during the past 13 years and give them special thanks. Because tonight, those same people are gathered with you here to walk across this stage with you. They are special, they think you are special, and we all know you will not let them down. Director Adrian Olson, Director Patience Gall, I present to you the class of 1987 from Osseo Senior High School. As principal, I hereby certify that these students have completed the requirements of the state of Minnesota in Independent School District number 279. I ask that you now award them their diplomas. Jody Ann Adair.
Anthony Andrew All.
Heather Ellen Alden.
Troy Leon Allen.
Aaron Michael Anderson.
Craig William Anderson.
Mark James Anderson.
Paul John Anderson.
Robert Michael Anderson.
Scott Allen Anderson.
Carrie Lynn Anderton.
Stephanie Denise Andreessen.
Travis Reno Annette.
Barry Jonathan Anthony.
Scott Lloyd Anthony.
Craig Albert Arbizu.
John Dale Armbruster.
Scott Edmundo Artola.
David Paul Aspinwall.
Scott Allen Beckman.
Please. Keith Wayne Baker.
Greta Ann Bakken.
Daniel John Bollock.
Karen Leeson Barrett.
Corey Arthur Barsdorf.
Michael James Bartos.
Gretchen Lee Becker.
Lance Kurt Becker.
Georgia Faye Bajan.
Donette Lynn Beisel.
Mary Patricia Benson.
Kirsten Ann Berg.
David R. Bills.
Teresa Lynn Burkholtz.
Jeffrey Scott Besser.
John Charles Bolke.
John Walter Bowling Jr.
Rochelle Lynn Bond.
Joseph Michael Bozer.
Michael Paul James Bott.
Julie A. Boyer.
Chad S. Boyum.
Dale Robert Basevsky.
Thomas Howard Brush.
Troy Michael Brady.
Kimberly Sue Brandt.
Kristen Marie Brazel.
Barbara Jane Brooks.
Jason Gary Broussard.
Keith Patrick Brown.
Kelly Sue Bruns.
Janelle Louise Bruntmeyer.
You want to go on or you want to stop a minute? As soon as the class has composed themselves, we will continue with the reading of the names. Thank you. Christopher Page Buck.
Lon Mon Bozy.
Jennifer K. Bullock.
Anne Marie Birch.
Mary Margaret Birch.
Robin Paul Burnham.
Pamela Renee Buss.
Stephen Richard Kane.
Shannon Lee Callanan.
Krista Andrea Caputa.
Deborah Sue Carlson.
Tammy Evelyn Carlson.
Troy Michael Carlson.
Wendy Lynn Carlson.
Scott Michael Carlston.
Dean Edward Casey.
Kristen Marie Cashin.
Denise Carol Chalupanik.
Christopher John Christensen.
Charles Edward Siran.
Thomas Cleveland.
Keely Marie Clifford.
Jean Lee Cloud.
David Matthew Cody.
Jody Marie Coakley.
Christopher Lee Conlon.
Kelly Ann Conlon.
Laura Jo Kahn.
Stephen Gerald Cook.
Carrie Edward Coons.
Stephen James Cooper.
David Ryan Craig.
Lisa Marie Kraus.
Denise Michelle Crow.
Renee Lee Curari.
Brian Douglas Dahl.
Trent D. Dolan.
Michelle Marie Don.
Anna Aurora Davila.
Cynthia Renee Davis.
Stacy Sue Helen Davis.
Annette K. Dielstra.
David A. Deering.
Brian Paul Denny.
Kimberly Ann DeSantis.
Elizabeth Donna Dio.
Renee Marie Dillinger.
Stacy Lynn Deseth.
Roxanne Lynn Dittburner.
Harry McDougall Dixon IV.
Barbara Jane Downing.
Christine Serena Dovin.
Michael D. Dubé.
Thomas Earl Droll.
Philip Waldron Ducharme.
Chad David Dubois.
Tracy Ann Durfee.
Wayne Merrill Dirtle Jr.
Paula Ray Eberly.
Mark John Dvorak.
Tommy Edwin Eckert.
Michael Owen Eckert.
Kenneth S. Ellert.
David Frederick Eckert.
Darcy Beth Ellis.
Sherry K. Elke.
Robin Peter Engel.
Jody Lynn Ingebretson.
Kari Urkula.
Brent J. Erickson.
James Russell Evans.
Bradley James Eason.
Donald Scott Fennell.
Cara Michelle Fashing.
John David Philippi.
Sherilyn Ann Farian.
Jason Wade Fisher.
Lynette Jean Fisher.
Tomas Francisco Flores.
Michael T. Flayhaven.
Joseph Benjamin Foster.
Corey Kenneth Fluke.
Christina Lynn French.
Karen Lynn Frendricks.
Jody K. Fritzy.
Rob Thomas Fritz.
Carol Marie Fuller.
Dean Christopher Furstenberg.
Thomas Gwynn Gale.
Scott William Gage.
Alfonso Garcia.
Tammy Marie Gallus.
Gabriel Gaspar.
Brian Richard Gardner.
Jenna Aaron Gator.
Aliha Beatrice Gustaloom.
Greg Lee Jarellis.
Audrey A. Gillerman.
Stephanie Page Gerking.
Kim Laurely Getchell.
Shane Terrence Goring.
Angie Lynn Gillis.
Jeffrey Donald Getz.
Gerald Lee Getz.
Scott David Goman.
Stephanie Lynn Getz.
Richard J. Grainer.
Kathleen Cordella Gordon.
Antonia Michelle Grant.
Christopher Douglas Grange,
Julie Ann Gregg,
Mark Wayne Greenwood,
Nancy K. Griffith,
Michael Patrick Griffin,
James Scott Goodmanson,
Bradley Michael Grippentrog,
Heather Ann Gustafson,
Wayne Douglas Gunther,
Donald James Hoppia,
Troy Allen Randolph Haig,
Jason Allen Holgrimson,
Brian Patrick Hadorf,
Denise Marie Hall,
Andrew Robert Hall,
Jody Lynn Hanson,
Joshua Eugene Hambrook,
Paul Hardy,
Timothy R. Hansen,
Melissa Joy Harrison,
Vicki Marie Hardy,
Jan Ellen Haslick,
Brian James Harwood,
Eric Christopher Hegman,
Jeffrey Milo Hedin,
Cheryl Ann Hennis,
Tina Alina Hemeke,
Lisa K. Hess,
Jennifer Lee Henry,
Heidi K. Hillary,
Melanie Ann Heiser,
Shannon Delise Hodgins,
Stephanie Ann Hines,
Dean Lee Hoff,
David Paul Hoke,
Darla Jean Holm,
Alvin Lee Hoffman,
Joseph Matthew Horwath,
Cheryl Lynn Homan,
James Eugene Lushan Howard,
Erica Lynn Hovland,
Deanna Lynn Huey,
Theodore James Hubel,
Delsa Connie Hunt,
Gregory James Humbart,
Dawn Marie Huseth,
Lori Lynn Huntley,
Stephen Edward Iacano,
William Charles Houston,
Eric Carl Isaacson,
Mark Allen Emmy,
Charles Alva Jacobson,
Christopher Charles Jackson,
Michael Scott Jacobson,
Jeffrey John Jacobson,
Kelly Michelle Jan,
Vicky Scott Jacobson,
Daniel Frank Jenches,
Kenneth Lahina Janis,
Bradley Allen Johnson,
Andrea Lene Johnson,
Craig S. Johnson,
Christina Marie Johnson,
Jill Marie Johnson,
Daniel Wade Johnson,
Lori Michelle Johnson,
Kelly Lee Johnson,
Sherry Ann Johnson,
Luke Anthony Johnson,
William Frederick Johnson,
Terry Ann Johnson,
Noel Thomas Jouer,
Bridget Jean Johnstone,
Sean David Junker,
Jolene Lynn Judson,
Andrew James Kalupa,
Michelle Marie Kalsness,
Jonathan L. Carner,
Holly Jean Cantor,
Carl Andrew Kerberg,
Kelly Ann Keister,
Patrick Lee Kellis,
Peter S. Kiner,
Nicole Ann Kelly,
Jason Allen Kelly,
Pamela Sue Kidney,
Carrie Lee Kennedy,
Anita Marie Kiffmeyer,
Daniel Dale Kilty,
John Robert Kisslinger,
Sherry B. Kiffmeyer,
Daniel Thomas Kirscher,
Michael Patrick Kinnan,
Linda Marie Clapperich,
Cheryl Louise Kitch,
Kyle Scott Klemick,
Christine Marie Teresa Klein,
Andrew Wayne Klingel,
Wade Allen Glick,
Kirk William Knight,
Kimberly K. Knoble,
John Rafferty Knudsen,
Troy Allen Knopic,
Kurt John Coker,
Nancy Lee Kokendorfer,
Mark Noel Kolstead,
Nancy Elizabeth Kohler,
Carrie Ann Kubis,
Julie Marie Kreitz,
Kumiko Kishida,
Ricky Allen Quinn,
Sherlyn Charisse LaChapelle,
Barbara Erica Laplantier,
Edwin McCoy Lamberty,
Barry Lane,
Rob Thomas Lang,
Christopher Brent Lang,
Tammy Marie Langsdorf,
Kelly Marie Langner,
Keith Douglas Larange,
Keith Lloyd Lansendorf,
Daniel Glenn Larson,
Brenda Lynette Larson,
Reed Lawrence Larson,
Jeffrey Julius Larson,
Jacqueline K. Leedens,
Lisa K. Lazzaroni,
In Yong Lee,
Gerald Robert Lee,
Donald Elroy Latola,
Christopher Gerald Leader,
Andrew James Lentz,
John Anthony Lenners,
Todd Lawrence Lewis,
Jessica Lynn Lundowski,
Martin C. Lind,
Teresa Marie Lees,
Brian David Lindgren,
Diane Carol Lindberg,
Brian James Lingen,
Shane Douglas Lyons,
Lisa Marie Lohr,
Donna Marie Link,
Stacy Ann Losey,
Stephanie Ann Logan,
Carrie Ray Loomis,
Michael Scott Long,
Stephen Matthew Laurie,
Fernando Antonio Lopez,
Karen Marie Lyons,
Jeffrey Charles Ludke,
Craig Stephen Matter,
Lonnie David McCrae,
Matthew Paul Mahoney,
Dennis John Madsen,
Catherine Susan Mackey,
Megan Louise Mahoney,
Nancy Jean Malone,
Juan Bernardo Melo,
Christina Carey Maravellis,
Philip Andrew Mann,
Stephen Joel Merrick,
Meryl Constance Marcoccini,
Carrie Beth Martin,
Jessica A. Marshall,
Tamara K. Mashuga,
Suzanne Marie Martonic,
Tammy Jo Matheny,
Lisa Marie Massey,
Deborah Lynn Mattia,
Greg W. Matthews,
Michelle Therese McCormick,
Julie Beth McCann,
Lisa Luann McGilvra,
Helen Lee McCrae,
Lisa May McGuire,
April Louise McGuire,
Patrick David McNamara,
Angela Marie Mealing,
Nancy Lynn Meyer,
Donald Ronald Meyer,
Daniel C. Miller,
Jill Marie Myers,
Jean Nicole Miller,
Scott Douglas Millard,
Carrie A. Mitchell,
Lawrence Peter Miller,
John Matthew Munson,
Robert Donald Moore,
Chad Lee Mortensen,
Lynette Marie Maureen,
Christine Marie Mosher,
Pamela Ann Moses,
Keith Charles Mosey,
Elizabeth Mosley,
Mary Elizabeth Muller,
Brett David Muckway,
Stephen Eric Muller,
Richard Ludwig Mueller Jr.,
Brian Edwill Murphy,
Lori Lee Munter,
Brian Scott Mustonen,
Jerry Robert Murphy,
Patrick Michael Myslicki,
Rebecca Joe Myron,
Bridget Marie Nikelski,
Cheryl Renee Nagel,
Brent Allen Nelson,
Carrie Lynn Nielsen,
Deetra Ray Nelson,
Cammie Jo Helen Nelson,
Tammy Jo Nelson,
Jeffrey J. Nelson,
Corrine Marie Newer,
James Frederick Newman,
Julie Marie Novola,
Debbie Lynn Nix,
Lynette Lee Noby,
Carla Faye Noble,
Kirsten J. Nordberg,
Kane Jeremy Nordby,
Jody Nina Nordquist,
Michelle Ruthann Northway,
Karen Sue O'Brien,
Patricia Ann O'Brien,
Patrick Joseph O'Brien,
Jean Anthony O'Connell,
Arnold Ernest Ohado,
Michelle Lee Olson,
Rhonda Marie Olson,
Stephen Neal Olson,
Brenda J. Ottinger,
Elizabeth Ann Owens,
Audra Joy Parenteau,
Auntie Michael Partanen,
Timothy J. Patnode,
Paul William Paba,
Thomas Ole Paulson,
Deborah Peterson,
David Lee Pikert,
John Edward Pellant,
David Michael Penoyer,
Sonia Marie Jean Perez,
Muthuraman Periakarupan,
Tyrone Vernon Perron,
Christina Joyce Peterson,
Denise Lynn Peterson,
Lance Drew Peterson,
Michelle Lee Peterson,
Thao Ki Pham,
Marcia Jean Parrott,
Darren William Pilasinski,
Laura May Pinominimi,
Deanna Marie Plack,
John Randolph Pollard,
Anne Marie Peluzny,
Jodia Marie Poucher,
Jennifer Nicole Prater,
Kevin Michael Prince,
Denise April Quayle,
Chantel Ann Quigley,
Troy Allen Quinn,
Monica Sue Quinahan,
Carmen Joy Radance,
Karen Lynn Regger,
Paul Curtis Rankin,
Mary Chris Kathleen Rapez,
Darren Wade Rasmussen,
Thomas Francis Ratka,
Christopher Dominic Ray,
Josette Jane Reinke,
Ronald Francis Reinert,
Troy Paul Ryder,
Gillette Ann Reisdorf,
Thomas James Brixmeyer,
Michelle Lynn Ribby,
James John Rispalje,
Carrie Angela Ringham,
Gina Marie Robinson,
Gregory Lynn Riss,
Michelle Ann Rohr,
Christine Lee Rogers,
Diane Marie Rosso,
Beth Marie Loy,
Mark Allen Ruppelt,
Carolyn Ann Rossberger,
Amy Marine Ryan,
Christine Ann Ruppel,
Angela M. Sabo,
Joseph Scott Rutledge,
Deanne Marie Sampson,
Julia Ann Ryersey,
Matthew Christian Sargent,
Kirk Elliott Semlaska,
Tammy A. Say,
Eric John Sargent,
Deanna Marie Schwerber,
Thomas Allen Savard,
Jodan Nordica Schmidt,
Stacy Renee Schindel,
Julie Lynn Schinnenbarger,
Mark John Schindel,
Michelle Ray Sheru,
Michael Conrad Schmidt,
Joel Robert Schuster,
Brenda Marie Scholler,
Candice Rose Schwan,
Christine K. Schumacher,
Ryan D. Senecal,
Julie Ann Scott,
Lori Sievertson,
Christopher Martin Sewell,
Chad Ellen Sherrard,
Craig Earl Shepard,
Gordon Siebert Siebert,
Billy A. Scholes,
Robert Michael Simon,
Karen Diane Silvernail,
Brenda Lynn Sink,
Michelle Kristen Simpson,
Christopher Mark Slonecker,
Alicia Renee Scala,
Stacy Lee Smilden,
Christopher S. Smedstead,
Jessica Dawn Smith,
Elizabeth Leslie Smith,
Mary Carol Smith,
Luann Marie Smith,
Timothy Allen Smith,
Michael Bryan Smith,
Eric Allen Sonnenberg,
Tracy Sue Smith,
Christopher Brian Spencer,
Hillary Colburn Soden,
Wendy Marie Spillane,
Cynthia Ione Spielberger,
Stephen Raymond Stang,
Angela Marie Spindler,
Stacy Ann Stanton,
Carolee Jean Stanley,
Suzanne K. Stein,
Timothy Todd Stanton,
Chad David Stelgis,
Guy Martin Steiner,
Kristen K. Stevens,
John Richard Stensley,
Lori Ray Stoll,
Alita Luann Stevenson,
Robert Thomas Sullivan,
Relina Lurie Stroth,
Linda Christine Suter,
Craig B. Sunston,
Julia K. Swanson,
Emily Susan Swanson,
Gregory Jerome Swenson,
Michelle Marie Sweeney,
Stacy Lynn Sapinski,
Paul R. Sidlowski,
Victoria Joe Taylor,
Ross James Talmadge,
Barry Allen Thompson,
Deborah Jean Thiel,
Eric James Thornburg,
Julie C. Thompson,
Michael Mark Teller,
Carmen Maria Tibbetts,
Sheila Marie Torkelson,
Patricia Ann Tillman,
Angela Marie Tupper,
Michael Ramey Tugas,
Glenn Daniel Turpa,
Rhonda Renee Turner,
Olaf R. Urban,
Jason Robert Udine,
J. Thomas Venkert,
Brad Michael Van Hees,
Beth S. Wiesel,
Christine Jean Beltham,
Katharina Elizabeth Ellen von Mendy,
Michael S. Volstead,
Cheryl Lynn Vosica,
J. Christopher Voorhees,
Matthew John Wagner,
Mai Huyen Thi Vu,
Kimberly Jean Waller,
Richard John Wold,
Sarah Ann Wanmaker,
Michael W. Walters,
Brian Robert Wanberg,
James Martin Ward,
David Duane Warren,
Debbie Jean Warnicki,
Christopher Thomas Webb,
Michael John Warsko,
Deborah Lee Wise,
Mark Patrick Way,
Melissa Marie Wentz,
Sean Marie Webster,
Lisa Marie Westland,
Terry Lynn Wellen,
Christopher Andrew Whiteford,
Lee Dennis West,
Kimberly Marie Wickland,
Sean Morgan White,
Adam Joel Wickstrom,
Lisa Renee Whitney,
Brian Adam Weffler,
Matthew Glenn Wickland,
Robert John Wiley,
Tamara K. Weesey,
Bruce Allen Williams,
Christopher S. Wild,
Damian Scott Wilson,
Anne Marie Edith Wilkinson,
Christine Elizabeth Wood,
Shannon M. Wilmot,
Mark Winfield Woodcock,
Scott Allen Wold,
Shannon Marie Wright,
Nicole A. Wood,
William Robert Yonkers,
Jennifer Marguerite Warshek, Michelle Rayon Young, Jocelyn L. Zerl, Seniors, would you please recess, check in your caps and gowns. You may return on the floor and visit with your friends afterwards. Check in your caps and gowns in your respective areas, and then you may return back here.